So, hi, on the Rise Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Gloria.
and we're here with.
I'm Ben from Slowly.
And there's some questions to say about their new album, Forgiving Spree. So, congrats on that. By the way, how do you feel about the response to the album so far?
Yeah, we're blown away. It's like, it just is exceeded all of our expectations. We've I just like got dropped a message this morning from our manager saying we're getting all these Shazams from other territories and countries that we've never been to, and I'm like, this is so fun. It's so good. Yeah,
That's fucking
It's
awesome.
wonderful.
The album blew me away. It was so fucking
It's
good.
incredible.
really. Thank you. That's so lovely. Yeah, it was like we released a lot of singles before the record actually came out. And so when it dropped, because it's only 9 songs, I was like worried there wouldn't be enough meat on the bones or something for everybody. But so I tried to keep a few of my favorites like up my sleeve for when the album drops, so there'd still be a splash.
Mhm.
So I'm glad you like it. That's awesome.
Hell yeah. I'd also just like to say I'm very jealous of the tour lineup you guys have in April, bringing out Honey Revenge and Grayscale. I know those are both American
dog.
bands, and I can see them basically whenever I want, but goddamn, I wish that bill was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a ripper. We were blown away when that one came together. We were just like, um, I think it's something I didn't realize until we started touring overseas and like hanging at length with overseas bands. But everyone kind of wants to come to Australia, so it was like, I was like, we need to use this to our advantage and build some dream lineups because, yeah, people have this fantastical view of like the holiday to Australia, which it would like because it's so common for us. So we just like nobody wants to jump on a flight and travel for 24 hours to come to this place. But then, yeah, people seem to be into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like an Australian band finally getting the opportunity to tour the U.S. I feel like it's kind of the same thing. They're so far apart. Like for me, I'd love to
Yeah.
fucking go to Australia. Shit seems awesome. You guys have Kmart still. That sounds fucking dope.
That's so fucking awesome.
But my good friend works for Kmart, and he's like high up in the head office kind of thing, and he was just told me he's just started doing this new job where he has to go around to the shops, and he was saying how funny it is watching all the employees sweat because he's like this. He's the head office guy, and he gets to like walk in. I thought it was so funny. Anyway,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
On
Kmart.
the toes.
Hell yeah.
So, is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yeah, so Forgiving Spree was like the last song that came together for the record, pretty much. And for all of our records, there's always like, and I feel like it's the story for most bands, but there's a song that kind of ties everything together in a way that, I don't know, feels like the news headline for the record. And so I kind of write in dribs and drabs and create like um, a bit of like a mosaic of my life because everything's pretty autobiographical, and then there's always like a song that sort of grabs everything together and makes everything make sense. And for me that was Forgiving Spree. So it's a, I don't know, there's a few layers on it. I think it's like forgiveness as a tool to move forward and stuff is it's a very powerful tool, whether that's to yourself or others. And it's not really like this overarching like evangelical kind of thing that I'm flag that I'm waving. It's more like it's sort of maybe acknowledging the complexity of that tool because I'm not one to admit that I'm like the best at it, but I do realize and recognize that it's holding me back, I think, from a lot. And so yeah, it's Forgiving Spree. And then the artwork, I mean, we just look like cool tough guys. So
Fuck yeah. Can't complain.
that's it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we wanted it something that seemed, I was drawing inspiration from a lot of sort of classic 80s covers and stuff where there was you'd have these sort of like macho men singing quite sensitive love songs, and I liked that. And so I think I wanted to capture the essence of that kind of like sensitive masculinity or something, because I often think with you know, we've moved in circles where people call us an emo band, and I think I like, I love that music, but maybe I think we've always kind of felt more aligned with bands like the Killers or something that have a bit more showmanship or put it in your face and are less kind of wallflowers or something maybe with it. Like there is, and it's not. Yeah, I think we've always just aspired for that kind of grandiose, show, like,
Yeah.
and so I don't know, that sort of image and that ethos and um that vision board kind of thing, it's just like when we saw that image, we're like, oh yeah, that's it, that's the record. So yes, that's it.
Gotcha.
Love it.
Hell yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for the album?
So I usually write like completely in isolation and dream up all of the arrangements and stuff. And then I bring them to the fellas, and then we get into the studio and kind of they put their flair on things. And for the majority of the record, that was it. So there was a lot of songs I did by myself. So songs like That's That and all time we had some added production from a friend of mine who lives down in Tasmania here in Oz, Jack McLean. But for songs like Born Free, gosh, what else is on the record? I'm trying to think which ones, like How Are You Mine? Like they're kind of, I did them in isolation. And then I got to the point where I was like, I had this group of songs and I was like starting to form an idea about the record, but I kind of need to like shake things up a bit. And I don't know, like I just needed like people to bounce off because like the people in my band are amazing soundboards for yes, I love it, Benny Boy, great job, or that sounds like shit, back to the drawing board,
Oh
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're but it's less like get into the weeds with me and be like, could you phrase this line better? Or, how about the chords at the end of this section? Or like, do you think that maybe this one drags on a bit? Or like, and so in other projects I'd worked with producers and collaborators. And so I'd never let anyone into the world of Slowly Slowly before. And I was feeling like maybe it was time. And so, um, yeah, I organized with Dave, our manager, like a trip over to LA and got into the room with a zillion writers and producers and just bounced around. And I think I was finally at a stage where I could do that and it didn't feel, because I kind of know maybe who I am and what I like and what I don't. And I'm not very, I wouldn't say I'm like easily influenced. I'm old and ugly enough to like know what I want.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like, so getting into those rooms was like, I felt really confident and I was just like able to be like, come up. I always feel like slowly, slowly, it's my baby. So like, I need to come up with the ideas. I need to put the petrol in the car and then somebody else can help me on Google Maps. You know what I mean? Like that's
yeah,
fine.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but I need to be the person that starts it. And so and everybody was so lovely and I met so many great people, Courtney Ballard over in LA, who produced Love Letters and Give Me the Wrench. And I worked with Susie Shin on Forgiving Spree, the song. And yeah, I was just feeling like really inspired. It was nice to like tap out of life back here in Oz. Because I work on other people's music and produce music here. So it's like it's just there's so many projects going and it was nice to just like tap out, get over into like a nice sunny place and just all I did was like multiple sessions a day and then I set up a little studio at the Airbnb I was at and so I was like recording back there when I got home.
Mhm.
So and that kind of put the bow on it. That
Hell
was
yeah.
the process. Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's awesome to hear that you were like confident going into opening up the project to other people, because typically, when an artist says that they finally, let the reins free per se and let other people come into the project, there's a ton of anxiety and nervousness coming with it. But it sounds like you were really truly ready to kind of bring other people into your process and start to grab other ideas.
Yeah, because it was great. Like I think maybe in previous years I would have struggled and it wouldn't have been so fun. It would have been fraught with all of those, I don't know, anxieties. But yeah, I feel like, I can't quite explain it, but I feel like yeah, I kind of just know who I am and what I like and stuff. So it was quite easy to navigate because there was a target. Whereas it's often, when I was younger in those writing sessions, you're kind of wandering around and you're like, is this me? Could this be me? Like,
Mhm.
and I feel like, and I really am just like so against uh diluting, especially lyrics and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so uh maybe I feel like I was at the stage. I like coming up with ideas on the spot and having like time frames. So it's like we have 3 hours, guys. We have to write a song, and so I kind of like that. And so um, I feel like I'm more creative in that space than these days when I kind of wander around and tweak that guitar for
Hmm.
2 hours. And what about a drum machine? And blah, blah, blah. I
Yeah.
kind of get a bit
Yeah.
distracted. So keeping me on course was awesome.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Hell yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And what song off the album took longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
All time actually started years ago, and I had the different kind of elements of that, but I needed something to tie it together, and the chorus didn't come to me until far later on. I actually think I pinched the chorus melody off like a really old demo from like it would have been like 2018 or something. Um, so that one was sort of always in the background and bubbled away even for previous releases. We were wondering whether it suited, but it just wasn't finished. And then to be honest, like most of the songs that make made the record, because it's quite concise, like it's only 9 songs, it's were the ones that happened really fast, because it's
Okay.
generally like a pretty good indicator of like we're on to something good if it all happens quite quick. So
Mhm.
nothing on the record was kind of slaved over, and I think that's what maybe made it feel kind of effortless. I wasn't
Hmm.
Other records have been painful to make for me. It felt like drawing blood or something.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
was this one was quite effortless. So
Mhm.
uh yeah. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So, how long do you typically work on a song before kind of tossing in the hat and saying, "Ah, it's not coming together fast enough. It's not good."
It's a good question. Maybe case by case basis, but I think uh some of them just get under your skin and you're like, you're not gonna beat me.
Like,
And so
fuck
you
this
kind of
song.
Yeah.
yeah, fuck this song. So you kind of like stick with it for
Mhm.
too long until it becomes mush, and then you hate it. But
Mhm.
generally the way I work is nowadays I'll sort of start an initial idea, and if I'm got the feeling to move through and finish the song, I'll take it. Um, I don't get all stubborn. I'm like, I have to finish the idea when I make it. Like I'll kind of plant heaps of seeds as I go. So during the week I might, 5 or 6 different little mini ideas. Um, and then the ones that kind of stick in my head, I'm like, I need to go back to that. That was something in that. And so, and then I just kind of like, yeah, it's this like circular process of like sort of chipping away, and then and then it's all at once. It's the big deluge of
Mhm.
like, I'll open something up and be like, there it is, like, and so that's the moments that you kind of like wait for and that you're so excited by. That's the addictive part, I feel, of songwriting. So I try and like leave a bit of space for that. These days I'm like less concerned with, yeah, just like teasing it out, like, like some sort of like it's this. I used to think songwriting had to be this painful process for it to be good or something. And it was
Mhm.
like it's not. It's you can actually enjoy the process. You
Yeah,
don't
fun
have to suffer. You
fact.
don't have to suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be fun. It could be fun.
It could be
Absolutely.
fun.
And did you give us a favorite?
A favorite. My favorite is Born Free from the record, which is probably different to everyone else's, but I don't know. That song's just special to me, so probably that one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Wonderful.
So how'd the track list for your album come about? Did you write the opener of the opener, close be a closer, shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
That was pretty quick, that bit. I mean, like Born Free was just like no brainer closer, and
Mhm.
then we did toy around with different openers for a bit, but it just felt like because Forgiving Spirit was that like umbrella of the whole record, it kind of felt like it kind of needed to sort of set the scene. Um, And then yeah, it was quite easy to get the flow of things. I think I mean we kind of because we kind of wrote the album with live performance in mind, we kind of I always see I think I saw this particular record as almost like a live set. Um
Ooh. Hmm.
and so keeping the energy up front, like I always when we play and I watch other bands live, I always just think those first three songs are so important
Mhm.
because you like to lose people very quickly if you make selfish decisions. Um, you know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
you're like, hey, let's try the new song first or something, like you can really fuck the whole flow of like the set because it's like ultimately like when people listen to songs by themselves and they're, about their day-to-day lives, it's like the songs become theirs. And so like they come to a show almost you come in a selfish way sometimes to like to see your songs. They're
Mhm.
your songs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you come. And so it's like give people their songs, up front. And so I think maybe like the kind of up tempo energy because it was, we wanted the record to feel live and stuff. So yeah, tried to keep a lot of energy up front, a bit more story in the back end
Mhm.
when everybody calmed down, gets a drink,
Yeah.
comes
Exactly.
back.
Relaxing a little
Yeah,
bit. Yeah. Yeah.
little toilet break. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you're so right about the live comparison because it's like obviously the back half of the set or the very end of the set is when the bands always put the hits, but you should have a hit or two in the beginning because it's so
Yeah.
important to the set to really get people excited in the first third if you want to break it that way, to get people really excited, and then you can fuck around and do what you want to do as a band kind of in the middle section.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, I know I already mentioned the Killers, but I mean, I've seen them live a few times and I just think they're just world class. But like I remember seeing them, they came out, the house lights of the venue fully up.
Hmm.
They
Mhm.
play Mr. Brightside, everyone loses it.
Mhm.
Um, and then at the end of the set, they played it again. And I was just like,
Damn.
this is like,
Opening and
it's
closing.
like,
That's crazy.
that's what people want. That's what people want.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you got to give it to them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's just funny.
Hell
That's
yeah.
fucking awesome. Hell yeah. And would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating the record?
My headspace is at all different spots, really. Like I think because I kind of, although the songs come out pretty quick towards the end of the process, like the initial seeds and stuff have been from all over and years ago and stuff. So like uh different for different songs, I think. Like, if you listen to like How Will You Mine or something, it's quite a celebratory, upbeat, it's a love song. It's like, and even songs like Love Letters, I mean it's pretty obvious that those songs are like, you know, very um I don't know, they're not mysterious in their delivery. And so I think like for songs like that, it's put quite plain. But then there's songs that are just like, a little bit more verbose and stuff like Born Free and um that are a little bit more existential and about uh, you know, deaths and births, and there's songs on there that detail I went through a miscarriage and marriage, and it's just like there's there's lots of different layers to the record, and
Mhm.
uh, so it's kind of all over the shop. But I think the resounding sentiment is maybe optimism. Like I
Mhm.
think
Mm.
I like to have like a little light at the end of the tunnel. But
Absolutely.
I think the sensitivity of the record is still kind of maybe um, has its roots in uh, you know the pangs of life. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
And when covering kind of more sensitive topics, is there any anxiety or hesitation that you felt kind of leading up to the release, or were you at peace with everything that you said?
Good question. Um, I think initially, yeah, I just it felt, I'm not someone who's like quite vulnerable, so it's like it was very, it's the most vulnerable I get is in my songwriting. I'm not someone I'm the person on a night out who hates a D&M.
Hmm.
When everybody sidles off to the corners, I'm like, no, 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 upward trajectory. Everybody stop talking about their feelings. Like, no, 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 no. I don't
Party
want to hear
time.
about
Come on.
anyone's feelings.
Yeah.
Come on, like enough, 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 enough. Like, and so I'm not that person. And so songwriting for me is a vessel for that. But I think so yeah, at the start there was maybe some recoil after it first came out because I'm like, oh God, like, this is a lot. Um, but I feel like it's outweighed heavily by the fact now that we have an audience and fans that I knew that there were people that had gone through similar scenarios who maybe needed, a song to provide respite. And, I mean, that's why we do this whole thing, it's for connection and the only way through connection is vulnerability. So, you know, um, I have no interest in being like a cool, untouchable band that, is I like the human elements of music, and I don't want to hide behind technology uh, and I feel like this is the path forward. Being vulnerable like that is the only way I could is connection these days. So yeah, it's just sort of it was heavily outweighed by the pros, I think, but of course there was hesitation.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
That's fair though.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should do in the car with friends, in dark with headphones on? Is a workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
Gosh, I don't know. I think there's maybe songs on there for each one of those scenarios. I mean, like "Give Me the Wrench" is the ultimate deadlift song.
Mhm.
So, strap the belt on and go for it. I think but then yeah, lots of songs to listen to, with a loved one or a pet. God, you could any way you want to phrase it. But I think, and then there's of course more intimate things and songs that you could listen to, looking out a car window on a long trip by yourself. But uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to tap out of that one. I can't think of one scenario. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Hey, it's a song for every occasion.
Yeah.
That's it.
There you go.
Soundtrack to your life.
Ding,
Yes.
ding, ding. Yeah. So this one should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
Ooh, gosh. 3 words.
3.
Let's go. A sensitive macho celebration. There you go.
Ooh, I fucking love that. That's incredible. Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's great.
There you go. Should have
Um,
saved that for the press release. Fucking hell.
Yeah, come on.
God damn it. Put on a shirt. It's okay. It's okay.
And in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
I think our whole shtick is like, I'm no stranger to maybe like wallowing, but I think there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and I try and put that into all of our songs because I think, I personally like to make music that has that sort of arc, and I think the album has that where it's giving you license to really feel, and then but also it picks you back up and gives you a little bit of a shove into the right direction. And so in terms of someone listening to it, was the question what I would want them to feel?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think just like feel it all, but know that there's a time limit, and then we got to dance. Sometimes you got to dance through it. So yeah.
Damn right. I fuck with that.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. And are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of the album, positive or negative?
I think like songs like Born Free was stemmed from like a lot of, I don't think there's another way to put it, but like maybe an existential crisis around mortality and and death because I'd been around it with family. And it's yeah, so that song for me was like the reason it's my favorite and it's quite special to me is because I feel it has a lot of me in it or something. Like it's you know, the lines, the song details, it personifies like human emotions, like there are people at a party or something and you're bumping into them and recalling these, you know, scenarios and occasions, memories that you've had with them. Um, but it's like acknowledging that those emotions are like removed from you and you are ultimately like a clean slate and you're good on the inside, but these things are sort of thrust upon you in life, and then the realization that they're taken away in the same way that you're born with them. And so, you know, it's got a grandiose topic, and I don't feel in any way informed enough to tackle it. But I think, you know, that's my story anyway with it. And so maybe that was maybe more one of the more important moments across the record, because I feel like it was like a light bulb for me or something to feel removed from those things and not feel like, you know, maybe it's like in some sort of Buddhist way or something, a stoic way to be like, um, to feel like you are separate from your emotions and not be so tied up, especially in you know, in a digital world where we are, you know, the movie characters, we are we're the main characters, you know, on these little apps and stuff. It's very easy to get so entwined in your own world that you feel suffocated by it or something, and like you're the victim to these things. But that ultimately there is a semblance of control, and yeah. Anyway, I'm sort of ranting now, but that probably that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Makes
Thank
sense.
you. Wonderful.
So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
I'll just go on the coffee. Like I'm a fiend. I like all, like I do not discriminate. Gas station coffee, you know, barista made $8 coffee from LA, you know.
Yeah.
I like all flavors. It's like pizza for me. You know, there's a beauty in Domino's, but there's a beauty in like wood-fired Italian pizza. Like these are different categories, and I do not discriminate. It's got to be the coffee for me. I love being caffeinated for a car trip. I don't think I ever get in the car without like chugging a heap of coffee, because something about like listening to music and driving is like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Damn right.
Hell yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
Ooh. Well, gosh, we have like we're quite like a multicultural band. We've got Albert, who's of Vietnamese descent. I'm Italian. Pat's Irish, and Alex is English. So, I mean, we might have to have a Guinness to wash it all down for Pat.
Well,
But there's few Italian meals I feel that are complemented by a Guinness. But you can't really have a Guinness and like, you know, Vietnamese food. Gosh, you know, but Albert is we're all huge fans of Italian food. So I'm just going to be selfish because I'm the one on the podcast and this is my
there
show,
you go.
damn it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm going Italian, and I think I'm just going to have to go a pasta. And I feel like Albert's favorite pasta is carbonara, and everyone loves carbonara. So I feel like we're going to go a carbonara with an egg base, not a cream base. Maybe a little white wine. Yeah, let's do that.
Solid.
All right. And for the last couple questions, go shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
My last meal. Oh, well, you know, it's gonna have to be something that my nonna cooks. I think I live across the road from my nonna, so that's my Italian grandmother.
Love that.
And
Awesome.
yeah, and she's the greatest chef I've ever known. Who just should have been like a 5-star Michelin chef in another life, but you know, people of that era sort of, you know, especially women sort of forced into child rearing, and that was kind of it, you know. But she honestly has such a gift with cooking. So yeah, it'd have to be, oh my God, and there's a million things she cooks that are just like amazing. Her coteletti, like eggplant parmigiana. God, any pasta that she touches, even her soups are just like incredible. It's like anything, it would be like dealer's choice with Nonna. She could hook me up, and she knows what I like, so she would nail it. I would die a happy man, I think, in the electric chair. Um, but it's probably that, and that was the question. That was it.
And a drink.
Your drink.
And a drink. My Nonna actually makes limoncello. Maybe a little tumbler of that to ease the pain of leaving this realm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hell yeah.
Well-rounded.
So yeah, it's gonna have to be that. No meal I've ever cooked or had anyone else cook as compared. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Right.
And if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
I'd go the Banjo-Kazooie level 1.
That's something I haven't thought about in a long time. Wow. Holy shit. Oh my god.
Our bass player just got like a Nintendo Switch or whatever, so he's been playing stuff on the plane, and I've been like eyeballing it and like taking a trip down memory lane, and all those sounds like the uh-huh.
Oh my god.
So maybe yeah, that I think would be like a nostalgic place that I could have some good fun. We've been sort of debating the different games of that era and what was best, Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and like Super Mario, and yeah, Banjo-Kazooie and stuff, but Tony Hawk. But I feel like I'd go Banjo-Kazooie. I feel like it was just a great game.
All right.
Yeah, right. Banjo-Kazooie on top.
Hell yeah. And I've now asking the last question. Every single person that we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What is your favorite color?
Terracotta.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
Have you ever had that before?
No, you're the first terracotta.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like terracotta. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Terracotta is like, if I'm remembering properly, it's kind of like an orangish brown. Is that what am
Yeah,
I
like a burnt orange, I would say,
Yeah.
but maybe closer to peach. Why? What are your favorite colors? Have you ever been asked?
Oh, bright ass yellow, like the brightest.
Bright ass yellow.
Yeah, like duct tape yellow. That type of like, damn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say
Well.
black, but Glory says that's just a shade, so I go with purple.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. Respect.
Hell yeah.
Wonderful.
So as I said, that's all the questions you have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
But anything I would like to plug? Just our new record, I guess. Like, our new record, our discography. Go. I mean, like I know we're kind of becoming new to territories like the US and UK and Europe and stuff as but we're a few records deep. So if you're liking what you're hearing, there's we are the sort of band that was not built by producers and money from a record label. So we really found ourselves in public. You know what I mean? Like we were releasing records early on that we self-produced and self-recorded, and there's a real arc there. So you can go back and sort of it's quite a real beginning. So if you want to go back, I'm spruiking the discography.
All right.
Yeah, growing pains and all.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's it.
Love it.
That should be.
Well, thank you for listening. It's been Ben from Slowly, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.